cleanse myself. But one thing that I can say is that even if I used to do all those things, I always had a pattern of always waking up like during midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Little did I know that it was God calling me, and He's been trying to call me and catch my attention for a very long time. But then again, because of the person that I am and the impulse that I had, I wasn't really paying attention. So during my delivery of my 3-year-old daughter, like I had a messed up situation happening during that time frame. And this messed up situation is not something that I want to discuss because I don't live there anymore. But I know that this story can help another mother out there, right? So during my delivery with my daughter, I was in labor for about 33 hours. And my two other prior pregnancies, they were delivered vaginal. My son was like the fastest delivery, which was like about maybe 6 to 7 hours after. But my daughter, I was not dilating whatsoever. And the doctors were like very concerned. After 33 hours of being in labor, I was swollen because of all of the IV. So the doctor, mentioned to me that I think it's about time we do a C-section because you're not dilating fast enough. And, we don't want anything to happen to the baby. So I said, okay, no problem. But prior to me going into the to going to the OR, I don't know. I just had a feeling inside of me that something was gonna go wrong. I don't know if it's a feeling that anyone could describe, but I made sure to call my dad, and I told my dad to pray for me, and I told my dad that I felt like something was wrong, and I don't know if I'm gonna make it out, but everyone knows what is it that I want. God forbid something happens to me. And I also called my sister. I told her the same thing. I feel like something is wrong. Something is not right. And my sister know what to do if something happens to me as well. So then I also call the lady who used to do my tarot reading, and I asked my best friend who was with me at the time to call her and tell her that I felt like something wasn't right and that I wanted her to pray for me. So I don't really know what she told my best friend during that time, but I know that eventually they took me for an emergency C-section. And during the beginning of, the transition of going from the room to the OR, I'm already in the OR room. They have me laying down. They giving me anesthesia so I can go to sleep. Well, not go fully to sleep, but go halfway to sleep. And during that time, the doctors were cutting me, and I actually felt that they were cutting me. And they mentioned, like, you technically should not be feeling anything at this time. And I told them, yes, I can feel it. I know where you guys are cutting me. And they're like, where? And I'm like, you're like towards the middle of my stomach, below my belly button. And they noticed that, yeah, she's actually right. She's feeling it. Let's give her more anesthesia. So they gave me more anesthesia, and they told me to try my best to stay up and not fall asleep. I'll call it I fell asleep. So during that encounter, I started noticing it's like I was playing a puzzle. And the colors were like, it was like a light brown. Like I felt like, oh my God, I'm winning. Oh my God, like I'm so excited, right? Meanwhile, I wasn't thinking about where I was currently. It felt like I was like in deep sleep. Then I make it to the top. And when I make it to the top, all I see is like white clouds. I see staircase. I see a gold castle. And I see God. So God talks to me, and he tells me that this is the end of my story. And I just started crying. I said, God, like, there's no way that this can be the end of my story, because I still haven't done what I was, meant to do in this earth. Like, how can you do this to me? And during that moment, I can see my two children at the time, my daughter and my son, like they were hugging each other, crying, saying that, I passed away. And there was other things that also play a role in that part that I won't discuss, because everything has not yet fully manifested in my life. So during that moment, I started praying to God, and by God's grace, I know my prayers. So I started praying to Him, and I started telling Him, like, God, like, please, like, let me go back to my children. Like, I haven't finished raising them. I have to be with them. I want to see them get older. Like, there was so many things that was going through my mind. I also saw my daughter, who at the moment she was like still in a sack, as if she didn't make it. So I go, it's just for like a full blown nightmare that's happening. During that time, God gave me, He gave me some plans of some of the things that I need to achieve and accomplish during my lifetime, which I am working on as we speak, and I have been working on for quite some time. One of the first things that He did mention about me doing was my book, which I did. I wrote a book about a little bit about my life. Growing up in my childhood, I didn't elaborate too much because, again, I have been a very, very private person. But I know that God kept on letting me know that He wanted more from me. And the reason why He wanted more from me, because a lot of people will be delivered from my story. And so I did the book. I published it last year, and all went well with the sales and stuff like that. So I'm grateful for God. I felt like God was actually trying to teach me that it's time for me to take that leap of faith and keep going, right? So He also had installed in my heart about starting a business. I did that as well. Again, that wasn't easy, because, again, I'm a single mom with one source of income, which is my own. And I'm like, how am I going to be able to run a business, and take care of my children and work and be the best mom that I can be? But when I tell you that God gives us the strength to achieve and accomplish a lot of things, He does. As long as you continue to learn Him and give yourself to Him, God would always provide you mercy. He will always care for you. God is my best friend. There's a lot that has changed in my life in the past, I'll say 2 years.